It's like a whole complicated process. I have like slowly started to figure things out, very, very, very slowly, might I add.
Yeah.
But, man, I appreciate you tuning in. We're recording now. Something in the Wild. I believe this is episode 24 or something like that. I don't know. Well, whenever I'm in post-production, I'll take a look. But
Right.
But anyway, I got with me Emerson Wentz. That's how you pronounce your last name, right?
Correct.
He is, doing some outdoor work, outdoor research. We went to college together. Did a little bit of wrestling, little bit of wrestling.
Yeah.
And he just came back from a turkey hunt a couple months ago.
Yeah. Turkey hunt and fishing trip.
And fishing trip out in Idaho, and pretty successful at that. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. But first, I want to start off by you just introducing yourself. What do you do? Why do you do it? What got you into the outdoors? The floor is yours, my friend.
All right. Well, obviously, my name's Emerson. Grew up outside of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Fell in love with wrestling, and that's really what took me to college, because I wasn't really thinking too much about college other than I wanted to keep wrestling. And, my dad had me in nature my whole life. I was holding a fishing rod before I could walk. So grew up trout fishing, catching sunnies, the occasional largemouth. Then hunting, my dad was always a part of the Orange Brigade. He was a rifle hunter. He started picking up archery, and then he fell in love with it like everybody does. And I wanted to be like my dad, so I started picking up a bow. And, I'm just hooked on everything outside. And then while in college, I found out that I can actually get paid to work outside. So got that degree playing in sticks and rocks and soil.
What degree is that?
Environmental studies.
Okay.
Yeah, not quite environmental science, but I am now an environmental scientist. So the degree got me there.
What's the difference? What's the difference between those two?
I think it was explained there. We didn't have to take the second chemistry course or like OChem, and that was the big separating difference.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
But, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. It's always interesting. People come from very diverse backgrounds getting into the outdoors. Some people were born into it. Like you said, your dad spent a lot of time outside, and I feel like that's how a lot of hunters get started. It's like kind of a family ancestral thing. It gets passed down generation to generation, and it's cool to hear, man. But I want to dive a little bit deeper into what it is that you do. I know we were talking about it a little bit, and we actually just got done cooking up some pheasant that you killed this past year.
Yeah.
Cooked up some elk roast, made some pheasant cordon bleu, pheasant schnitzel, some zucchini from the garden, which is awesome. So all homegrown stuff, and it was pretty good. I forgot to season the pheasant, so it was a little bit bland, but hey,
It's still good.
You live and you learn.
Yeah.
but anyway, talk about what you're doing now for work. How is the degree translated? What are you doing? What kind of projects are you working on?
All right. So I was hired on originally to do a lot of PFAS sampling. So PFAS, it's polyfluoral something or another. There's like 18 letters to it. It's a big chemical compound, and it's PFAS and PFOS are the two big ones, but there's hundreds of separate compounds, because I was telling you earlier, but it's called the forever chemical because it doesn't decompose. It only breaks down into another toxic chemical. It was released by, I think, 3M and DuPont.
They made it.
Yeah, they made it.
Construct. Okay.
Yeah, and it is a very sticky chemical, so it was used in firefighting foam. So then using it for trainings, and if a big building burnt down and the firefighting foam was used to put out the fire, it would stick around, obviously. Rain falls. Now it's in the soil. As more and more rain falls, it gets down in the groundwater, and then people drink it, and it's bad for it's a cancerous. Cancerous.
Like carcinogenic kind.
Yeah, that's the word. It just messes you up,
Yeah.
and then it's fairly new, so they stopped releasing it. Like they stopped manufacturing the chemical and the firefighting foam in I think the 80s.
Okay.
And that's when people were like, "Oh, there's shit going on. Like,
Yeah.
why am I sick after drinking my water?" kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
EPA stepped in. They stopped manufacturing it, but once it's in the groundwater, it's there. You can't just dig a hole and pull it out. But but there are filtration systems. So with my company, we have a couple different projects where I'm sampling sewage water, which is as fun as it sounds. The shit sucks, literally.
Yeah.
But we then we go to people's houses. If they have an outdoor spigot, we sample that. And if they're like a known place, like it has been found in their drinking system, then DEP pays for water treatment. So they're called POET systems.
Okay.
Reverse osmosis. I don't know the true process, but
some sort of filter like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And then so I'll take a sample. I'm filling up jars of water from the influent, which is the water coming straight from the well. Mid carbon, which it's a point between two carbon tanks of the filtration system, and then the effluent, which could be an outdoor spigot or your sink or whatever. So then all of our tests have shown that once it gets to the effluent, once it's coming out, it's PFAS free. So
through all the filtration systems. Okay, so you're basically testing the filtration process from the beginning to the end to see how effective it is on the way through.
Yes.
Now, are those treatments, the treatment systems that you're talking about specifically, are they like is it city water that you're testing, or is it like you said well water? Is it just well water? Is it city water? Like, are they, for example, if I go to the South Park where they're filtering my water, are they going to be doing the same exact thing, or how does that work?
They may have. It's mainly found in people that have their own private wells.
Okay.
Big municipalities, they have their standards and stuff like that. But if you were to put a well in your backyard, you don't have to meet those standards necessarily to have your water.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
How familiar are you with city water? Like with like a municipality's water system, water filtration?
Not very.
Okay.
To be completely honest.
That's fine. That's fine. Because I was gonna ask. I was like, is it safe for me to drink my faucet water, or is it?
You should probably always filter it.
Okay.
Old pipes.
Yeah.
You don't want lead. Heavy metals.
Yeah, that's what I figured. We always go through our fridge, which has a filter in it. But yeah, I was just curious because that's always something that's interesting to me. Like I know, especially around the Pittsburgh area, like Pittsburgh, central PA, wherever there's been mining, wherever there's acid mine drainage, there's always water issues. Or coal mines and stuff. Whenever it drains out, it creates a whole bunch of issues. So I was always under the impression that well water might be safer than like city water or, general. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes and no. It depends. It's all about location. If you're near somewhere like a chemical refinery and they either had a spill or they're dumping, or if you're by like a big gas plant with the big terminals, a lot of those have had leaks in the pipes underground. So once anything is underground and it's in the groundwater, groundwater moves like a river. There's different aquifers everywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say tidal, but it moves. So then everything, the aquifer, if you were to put a well at your house here, the aquifer could be a mile away and you don't know what Jimmy down the street is putting into the ground, or if there was a old auto body shop and they were just dumping spent oil, or if restaurants or anything. So yes and no. There's always error. Filter your water.
Yeah. At the end of the day, just filter the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations for filtration systems that you usually use, or like if it like right now, say I move into a house right now, what should I do to make sure that my water's clean to drink?
The Poet systems, they're reverse osmosis. There's 2 carbon. I don't know what the official name of it, but any water treatment company will have them.
Okay.
And you gotta know what you're getting into, kind of thing. Or you can just stick with municipal water and hope that
run the risk of getting lead poisoning.
yeah, heavy metals, man.
Yeah, that'll definitely do some damage for sure. It's so interesting, man. I was doing this, so I'm working right now with this other guy from South Park, this resident in South Park. His name's Tim Foster. He used to be a lawyer a defense attorney for Consol Energy. So he has worked a lot with like AMD and things like that. And right now there's this proposed development that's going in near South Park, the park of South Park. And like the biggest thing that they're talking about is the removal of this wetland that's on the property.
You can't get rid of wetlands.
Yeah.
But
So
continue.
it's like not, yeah, exactly. So it's like a quote unquote wetland. I mean, it is flat, low lying. There's water there all the time. There's always a stream that's coming out. But they're talking about, getting rid of this. And you said that you had worked on wetland stuff before, and you're actively doing that right now. What are the consequences of removing wetlands like that? Like, say, there's an area where there's slow moving water, so it's always moving out. How does a wetland impact the general environment around it?
It's nature's filter, plain and simple. For the most part, don't get me wrong, it's not going to filter everything, but it's nature's filter. Wetlands are hugely important to the environment. Can't say a bad thing about a wetland. Now, there are some remediation practices. I'd have to look at the specifications for Pennsylvania, but in different states they have higher value for wetlands. And so if you're building, say you have a 1 acre lot and there's a wetland on it, depending on the rec, depends on how much you can build into it, because obviously you're still going to build on it. It's a shame, but it's how much of it can you take off of it. You can't just completely get rid of it. A lot of places, they'll get rid of it and then build a new one somewhere else.
Okay.
And that process takes time, because those soils that are doing what they're supposed to do, they don't just happen overnight.
Yeah.
It takes a long time for that water table to come up through, for the plants to come in, for all the animals. It's like a Band-Aid. So they'll probably end up removing the wetland and putting it elsewhere.
Yeah.
And
that usually doesn't work though.
It works eventually.
Okay, it just takes a lot of time.
It takes time.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, dude. There's the amount of vegetation, the amount of stuff that's going on, the micro cultures and things like that, and everything that's swimming around in there. It's gonna it definitely makes an impact, that's for sure. So it is a shame that I feel like there's just not a huge value on wetlands in nature at this point in time. People, I think a lot of people that aren't connected to it, that aren't out hunting, fishing, whatever, hiking, camping, I don't think they see the value. It's more just, let's develop it. And I think that's what got us in trouble back in the 1800s and 1900s, and why we're in the situation we are today, where we got to worry about this chemical that's in all of our water, basically, and lead and all that stuff. So it's a shame, but it's the grave that we dug. So just like people like you working to try and mitigate the consequences. Maybe talk a little bit more about what someone like a landowner or someone that has a piece of property, what can they do? I know you said it doesn't really matter if Joe Schmo down the road is dumping stuff in the water, but what can you as a landowner do to help prevent like the contamination of water, really?
Well, not doing it. That's the first step. But yeah, you can't control what other people are doing. I don't really know. You just stay clean yourself and hope others are following suit.
Yeah. Would you be able to like just create a wetland, just do it? Like if you had enough acreage.
You can. Yeah, you gotta find where your water table sits.
What's a water table?
The water table, it's like groundwater.
Okay.
It moves up and down. With a wetland, it's in a lower area. For the most part, you're not going to find a wetland on top of a mountain. There are wetlands on top of mountains, but they're few and far between.
Yeah.
But you got to get a low-lying area, floodplains, those kind of things. Those are great places for wetlands. And you got to treat the soil. You got to let nature run its course, do its thing. It's not like you can set up a box in your backyard and it creates a wetland that way. It's a big influence of nature there. Okay. They're hard to manufacture.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, man. I'm sure. I've been so you heard of Aldo Leopold?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been on a big Aldo Leopold kick. I read his the Sand County Almanac book.
Gotcha.
I've been listening to some podcasts and stuff, so I think it's cool. But essentially what he did was he took this piece of land that was just basically throwaway land, they used it up for crops, and then it's just a bunch of sand and very unfertile soil, and he kind of brought it back to health, and I think that's possible.
Yeah,
I feel like nature can kind of withstand a lot, and if you just let it run its course and take time, like you were saying, it come back better, and more efficiently can filter our water and help us out. Yeah. And I feel like that's the biggest thing is a lot of people don't understand that if nature isn't running at 100%, it's not going to help you out at all.
Yeah.
You got to help it out to help you out. So yeah, it is what it is. I mean, like I said, grave we've dug for ourselves, but I guess we can kind of move on from that. All the doom and gloom, we'll move on from that. Yeah, what else? Go ahead.
Just one little comment on conservation stuff. If it's not cute and cuddly, nobody cares about it.
Yep.
Not many people care about mud.
Yeah. Yep. That's yeah. I mean, that's a good point. Not many people are caring about the insects that are
correct
rolling around, worms.
Yeah.
Stuff that's actually important to soil nutrients. It's just all about and even to hunters. Even people that do spend a lot of time outside. It doesn't really matter. A turkey's got value. A deer's got value. A beetle doesn't.
Yeah. Ladybug.
Yeah, ladybug doesn't.
Yeah.
That's why we're running into such an issue with pollinators. Bees and stuff. Because people are getting rid of natural vegetation, wildflowers. You see wildflowers on the side of the highway that are growing, and then they just cut it down.
Yeah.
It's what the heck are we doing? Because
it doesn't look good to somebody's standard.
Yeah. It's not mowed, 3-inch grass mowed to perfection, right? It's ridiculous too, because you're spending taxpayer dollars to cut that down, and inevitably it is negatively impacting the taxpayer, even though like you said, not meeting someone's standards or whatever, and it might be helping some sort of insect out, something that's important for the environment, but nobody really understands that. I think that's why there needs to be more voice in that arena. But it is what it is.
I have fun little thing that you can do. You like spending time by the creek, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Do you know what a rock cairn is? Like the towers of rocks
yeah,
where
yeah.
it's big, smaller, smaller, smaller.
Yeah, yeah.
If you see those in a creek, kick it over.
Oh yeah, just knock it over.
Knock it over. Drop kick it.
Yeah.
Because it's destroying all the bugs, all the macros down there.
Yeah.
Anytime you want to see a caddis, it's at the bottom of a rock. Helgramites, great fishing bait. They live at the bottom of rocks too. You flip that over and you bring it out to the oxygen. That little caddis has its little nerd's rope nest on the bottom of the rock. It's not in the water anymore. It dies.
Do you work on stream stuff like through your job?
Yes and no. I've on the wetland delineation projects I've been on, there were stream delineations too, where it was more of this stream is here kind of thing. Like this, oh, there's a stream bed here. Okay, we have proof there's a stream bed here. There's no water running through it right now, but there's a stream here. Another thing for don't build right there.
Yeah.
But in terms, well, I did. So I worked and lived in Georgia, in Toccoa, Georgia for 3 months, right after college, doing environmental education. And schools would send their kids. I worked from seniors, high school seniors, which those were kind of fun, to like first, second graders. And one of the classes, if it was picked, it was, I think it was called stream ecology. Basically, you take a bunch of kids to the water, teach them, hey, look what's under this rock. And then there was a little pamphlet we'd hand out to all of them. And we'd try to find all the macros in there that we could catch with kick seines, kick nets. And then I lost my train of thought.
Kick nets.
Yeah, kick seines, kick nets. There was always a kid that's throwing rocks at somebody else. I would always tell the kids, hey, rocks are slippery, and I'm going to laugh at you when you slip and fall. And then, we'd have little ice cube trays where they would put the critters in, and then we go through the pamphlet, and, if you found dragonfly nymphs, helgramites, X, Y, and Z, nymphs, bugs, crayfish, that would tell you the stream's health. So it was really cool, real interactive way to teach kids. And then I would always throw in the rock cairn thing. Like, don't stack rocks. Drop kick them anytime you see them.
Yeah. Dan, that's fun, dude. I remember back whenever I was in high school. Oh my gosh, this was like literally whenever I was in like 9th grade, I think. But we had a class like that.
Okay.
I think I was talking about this earlier. I think that there should be standardized curriculum around like environmental education for sure, especially in primary school. Like starting kids off early. I think it should be just as important as like math or science or like chemistry.
Yeah.
For environmental studies.
The value of it, to bring back the value. Okay.
Because that would bring value to it, and people would learn about it. And then more kids would be. I'm a firm believer that if you teach kids to enjoy the outside in a safe, responsible way, like they're gonna be hooked on it. Like you don't take someone, especially I'm sure you've taken people in the past that haven't really spent that much time outside or like aren't really super into hunting or whatever. You take them with you, and they're like, "Oh, dude, this is awesome!
Yeah,
like this is so much fun. Why have I not been doing this?" I think that if you can, add that as like a staple in your curriculum, it's gonna add value for sure. For sure. That's my life's work. I'm declaring it now.
Yeah.
I'm going to declare it now that my life's work is to get that to be a
standardized part of education.
A standard part of education is environmental studies.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
That's your soapbox.
That's my soapbox. We'll stick with that. But that's cool, dude. And keep teaching kids. Do you do anything like that around PA?
I was looking into it because I really loved environmental education. It didn't pay well, and there wasn't. It's getting cut from. So in elementary school, we had this place called WEC. I forget what the acronym stood for, but we'd go to Pinchot State Park, which is near my high school, and there was like a outdoor center, and we'd go on little nature hikes that were as simple as, that's poison ivy, don't touch. A snake lives there, don't reach your hand in that hole. Like, if you see a skunk, don't mess with it.
Don't go after it.
Yeah, it was common sense as we would see it now, but that was a big part of my elementary school education, and you know, kids being outside, why not?
Yeah.
But then it got cut. Just funding, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know why it got cut. I was probably in middle school when it got cut, so very young, still trying to figure everything out. And but there are some places like the Chesapeake Bay organization. They have 4 or 5 different houses on islands that all do environmental education.
Oh, really?
I did that in high school as well. Like, you know, 3-4 day field trips.
Yeah.
You go and you stay on the bay. You go out with a waterman. He's talking to you about crabbing. We were baiting crab pots, setting crab pots. The one year we actually got to eat some.
Oh, nice.
Fresh from the bay.
Took it right up. That's cool.
Yeah. I'm having a terrible time remembering stuff. Like, my train of thought just keeps going. But
no, you're good. You're good.
yeah, we talk about conservation and then the rising sea levels and how those marshes are super important to the environment. So that was a part of my education, but it's because I chose that.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that looked at me like, why are you going to stay in a cabin for 3 days with people you don't really talk to in high school?
Yeah.
Because it's fun. You're telling me.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
people with the same mindset as you, it's always fun. It's
Yeah.
always fun to go out and you know, like share interests with people. Screw the zoo. Why are we not doing that? You know, why?
Yeah.
Why are we not doing that? Send the kids to some state forest and have a ranger show them around or whatever.
Yeah, just tell them what poison ivy is and let them go wild.
Yeah, just
play with sticks.
Just let them run around, throw rocks at each other.
Yeah.
Play with sticks, sword fight with sticks, and find bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy times, but I think that there's a way to change it. I think that there is. I think more people are realizing the importance of, like, hey, you know, like I hate, like, I always hate to bring up, like, the environmental movement because I feel like people get the wrong opinion a lot of time. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, like turn their back at it, but it's important. You know, it's important. I think people take it a little bit too far in some senses, but yeah, just being able to bring value to the little things, the microorganisms and the cultures and the dirt. Adding value, man, it's important. All right, let's talk about those fucking things right there.
These little things. There you go.
Check this out. That's an Idaho turkey right there.
Yeah.
What do you think those are?
I haven't measured them yet. No,
Oh
I
my
just know they're
gosh.
big.
Oh my gosh. Do I have a tape measure in here? I don't think I do. I know I got one sitting right out there. These are cool, man. So tell the
right.
story from the top.
All right. So a buddy that I met in college, we were sitting at pheasant camp last year.
Okay.
And he goes, hey, my cousin lives out in Idaho. Do you want to try to get mule deer tags? I go, hell yeah, dude. Why not? That sounds like fun. We have a place to stay for at least the first night, and then we're going to be backpacking, right? So we get our tags.
So wait, so for your, I don't want to interrupt too much.
No.
For your mule deer hunt, you guys are backpacking the whole time.
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to be sitting hopefully on top of a ridge, just glassing, and then for bed, just have the tent.
In the tent. All right, continue. We'll talk about that more later.
So where was I? Oh, so we get our tags. It was a fairly easy process. I just had to tell my boss the one day, like, hey, this is important to me. I'm doing this. I'm going to be offline for a little bit. It was like a half-hour waiting period
Yeah.
To get the tag, and then
Yeah, because the tag process, right? It opens up at whatever 10 o'clock Pacific or 10 o'clock Mountain Time or whatever, and you like right as soon as it opens, you click like save my spot or whatever the button is, and then you get put in line.
Yeah,
right.
You're assigned a random number. My number was maybe 59,126.
Yeah,
and then you get a live look at all the units selling out of tags. Elk tags went almost immediately.
Do you remember how many people were like how many people had shows whenever the elk tags did go out?
What do you mean?
Say like, was it on like person 30,000 whenever the elk tags sold
okay.
out?
I don't remember, but it was fairly early. I don't remember the number. I was super anxious to get my own tag.
Yeah.
Wasn't really looking hard at the elk numbers. I was given,
Or mule deer.
yeah, I was given, hey, we want either this unit, or this unit. I'm not going to give away my spot.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But then my number got picked. I enter the queue. My buddy, he's texting me. He's like, God damn it, his number was 70,000 something. He's like, they're going to sell out. They're going to sell out. He got a tag as well for the unit that backs up to mine.
Okay.
So our plan is camp together and go our separate ways during the hunt. But so we get our tags. We're super excited. I'm like, shit, now I got to start spending money because I don't have any of the extreme camping gear, right?
Yep.
And he's like, it's fine. It's fine. His cousin works for Fish and Boat out in Idaho, so he has discount codes for stuff. Just bought through him. And then I think it was around February, my buddy, he goes, hey, we have a hunting license. We paid for a hunting license. Do you want to go out for spring turkey and do a little fishing while we're out there too? I said, yes, 100% yes. Mind you, I've never turkey hunted before in my life. My dad, my grandfather never really turkey hunted, so my dad didn't really turkey hunt. My dad's definition of a turkey hunt was you went out a spring morning, you sat behind the biggest oak tree you could and hoped one would walk in.
Yeah.
Right. So I didn't have much of a background in turkey. I had no turkey background other than I know what a box call is, and they're thunder chickens, right?
Yeah, that's so interesting because I feel like there was a generational gap. Like our parents never turkey hunted because there weren't any turkeys around.
Yeah, that was an issue, yeah.
And then they started reintroducing turkeys, and then the people that are around like 40 to 30 to 40 years old now, they're like they were in the prime turkey hunting hours or turkey hunting years. But anyway, continue.
So, pitch the turkey hunt, right? I said 100% yes, and he goes, all right, we're bringing fly rods out too. I have a fly rod. I'm not a fly fisherman. I kind of know how to cast, kind of.
Yeah.
So, brand new experience basically the entire time when we're out there.
And first time out west as well.
Yeah. Well, I've been to the Grand Canyon, but it was my first time spending an extended amount of time out west.
Okay.
But yeah, so we fly into Washington. We were in the Panhandle region. That's where my buddy's cousin lived. He was about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours south of Coeur d'Alene. So when we land, we're all excited, right? We're like, we're going to wake up. We're going to just go out and we're going to find one right away. It's going to be awesome. We're so excited when we land. He's like, hey, there's this store. It's like, the way I describe it is if a Bass Pro Shop, a Tractor Supply, and a garden center all had a baby together. It was awesome. We spent a lot of time in there.
Yeah.
We're talking to...
Was it Shields?
It was called the Back 40, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was big store.
Yeah.
And we're talking... They had a little fly shop in there. We're talking to the guy like, hey, we're just looking to find fish. Just put us... want to catch cutthroats at some point this week. So he gives us a pin on the map, the St. Joe's River. It's apparently a very touristy fishing river, or not tributary, waterway is a good way to say that.
Yeah, is it a tailwater coming out of a dam? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
No.
Free flowing, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we go to the shop, we pick up some flies, some tippets. We're like, okay, let's go fishing for a little bit. We go fishing till 8, 9 o'clock at night. And in the back of my head, I'm like, wait, how far away are we from like home for the night? You know, how far away are we? What are we going to? So we totally shot ourselves in the foot, because once we showed up, we were super excited. We started getting into some fish. We were fishing on cliff banks with giant boulders. Not the easiest way to learn how to fly fish when you have a giant rock behind you.
Yep.
But so our plan was then to go to the one hunting spot that his cousin had been to before. He's seen turkeys there. So we were like, okay, we have everything on the map. We have it all pinned up. We wake up at noon the next day because we were beat.
Oh, yeah.
We traveled for 12 hours to get out there, then fished our little hearts out. And then,
altitude, too.
Yeah,
Altitude
there was
will play a role for
yeah.
sure. You're probably, what, like 4,000, 5,000 feet? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm sure it's somewhere around there, though.
So then when we woke up at noon, we kind of looked at each other like, well, let's go scout. So we start scouting. The first day we went to, it was all public land, but there was a giant timber sale going on. Like there were just big machineries, a lot of traffic.
Okay.
Cutting lots of noise. Saw some turkey scat, but didn't see a feather, didn't see a turkey, didn't hear a gobble. So we were a little defeated, but that afternoon we checked out a different spot, and we were looking to see if we could find them on the roost, make it real easy for us in the morning. We couldn't, but it was a nice hike to these areas. It was real nice woods. So the next morning we get up there, we're way before sunrise, but it gets light out there quickly. So we're hiking up through, and we just both stop. We get hit by the shock wave of a gobble. It's like, all right, this is on. Blood starts to pump. Game. First time hearing a turkey in the woods, So we get set up, and my buddy, he's like giving me a game plan, right? I'm like, yeah, but all I know about turkey hunting is don't move.
Yeah.
The bird didn't do exactly what we wanted it to do. He went and circled a different direction, and I got...
How close was the bird whenever you heard it?
Probably about 150 yards.
Okay, yeah, so it was close.
Yeah, he was just shot gobbling at everything. He was loud and proud that morning.
Oh yeah. What was the topography like? Like are we like on a bench, or where are we at?
We were climbing up a ridge.
Okay.
So we weren't at the bench yet. But that we were just starting our climb up. So we were about a mile up this ridge when we heard them.
Yeah.
And I'm set up, real awkward position. I'm like, okay, this bird's gonna come in right here, right at the end of my gun, and I'm gonna pull the trigger, and it's gonna be awesome. Wrong.
Yeah.
So I get yelled at because the bird came in. My buddy saw it. He's yelling at me afterwards. He's like, I can't, you got to be able to move. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like,
it's my first time.
Yeah, I don't know. But he was yelling at me, and we eventually got over it. He's like, we're just going to keep going.
Did you end up spooking that bird?
Yeah.
Like, you tried to move or something, or just knew something?
He saw one of us eventually.
Okay.
So we go venturing on, and we had found out that we ran out of water that morning. We both had a bottle of water, and there was nothing left in the car. We're 3-4 miles back in the woods, right? We get set up on this bench, and we're not hearing anything anymore. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning at this point, maybe 8:30. We both have our last drops of water, and we're sitting there just telling war stories, goofing off. A doe comes in behind us. She stomps and leaves. We're just sitting there giggling like schoolgirls, just telling stories. And across on a different ridge, there was a power cut.
Okay.
And I just looked hard, and I saw this little black dot doing figure eights. I'm like, that's weird. Is that bush moving? Like, what's going on? And we didn't have binos or anything. So we're looking a mile across this ridge into a power cut. And there's just this little black dot. I'm like, that's a turkey.
Yeah.
All right, that's a long walk. And we have nothing left. We didn't eat breakfast. We just hit the road. We're dehydrated at this point, sweating and sweating and sweating. And we come up with a game plan. It's like, all right, there's a little town about 15 minutes away. We know where he's at. If he moves, he moves. If he doesn't, he doesn't. We go to town, pick up a little bit of lunch, get hydrated, go to where we think he's going to be. So we park the car. We start moving along the trail, and we hear him he's loud. He's talking. The Merriams out there, from my experience, were very loud, very aggressive birds.
They tend to gobble a lot more than Easterns.
Yeah.
I've heard. Just because, I think that Easterns are very pressured.
Yeah.
So, they're a lot louder, I think.
Yeah.
That's cool though, man. That's very
cool.
But
then we start getting close to where the power cut starts, or where we can get access to it, and roughly where we think he is. And we're, crawling down a little hill, and we can tell he's coming, but he's not super aggressive. We're talking to him. But so
sweet talking.
Yeah.
Sweet talking.
We're slowly moving closer. It's either, hey, come get me, or I'm going to come get you. But we're going down this hill, and there's this beautiful butterfly bush in front of a tree, big enough for two people to sit behind. All right. So we set up on that. We get in position. I have the gun. He goes, they're coming up on my side. So he quick grabs the gun. Tom comes over. He shoots him. He throws the gun right back at me, because there's 3 Jakes with him.
Okay.
And they're confused. They're
Tom and 3 Jakes.
Yeah. So the Tom's just flopping on the ground. I get handed this shotgun. I'm leaning over top of my buddy, trying to put a beat on these birds. I go to pull the trigger. Nothing. Look, and there's a jam in the chamber.
Oh my god.
We're like, oh, what? We're just slamming it together. A lot happened in a short amount of time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And by the time we got it fixed, and I put a beat on, they were out at 60 yards. I sent one that way, ruffled some feathers. We didn't double up.
Yeah.
So then, my buddy's real happy. He got his first bird in Idaho. We go the next day. We basically do the same exact hunt, where we walk just with water this time.
Yeah.
We walked up the one ridge, sat up on that bench, didn't hear anything, and it was a real foggy morning. I learned that birds don't talk much when it's foggy, because it's a giant hello, I'm here. Yeah. Come eat me.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
and the sound doesn't travel too hot out.
Yeah, it's dampened. But we let the fog lift, and we were just bullshitting, and it's like, let's go try that other ridge. There has to be another bird over there. There has to be a reason. At least those 3 Jakes. Yeah. Right. I was fine with killing a Jake. That would have been cool. But we get set up on the other ridge. We start walking, and we just hear a gobble from hell, just loud. And we both look at each other. We're like, all right, it's on. We end up in the same exact spot.
Same tree.
Same tree, same bush. But this time we had a decoy because me being a novice in the sport of turkey hunting, we had a decoy this time so that the attention wouldn't be so much on me being out of place and maybe moving. He'd see the hen and be fixated for just enough time for me to pull the trigger. And that plan worked out perfectly.
Nice.
He was gobbling. We probably worked him for about 15 minutes and went silent on him for the last 10 minutes. And he did not like the silent treatment, or he loved the silent treatment. He
just came right in.
Yeah, he came up over this bench, just beautiful fan. You know, my head's pressed to the shotgun. I see him come up, and for a split second, I was like, holy shit. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to kill this thing. And then he put his fan down because he saw me kind of lean up. Like, the way I was positioned, like, I'm a tall dude. It's kind of awkward to sit in a crouch, and I was in a lot of pain. But I leaned up, and he saw me move, but he was still looking at the hen for a second. He put his feathers down and started putting away, and I shot him and saw him flopping from this thing, and then ran up to it, stomped on his head, made sure he was done, and then I was just so happy. And then once we looked, we were like, these are big spurs.
Huge, dude. They're huge. It was Tom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, those things are freaking massive.
Yeah, big old Tom bird.
Yeah.
Got a headache that morning.
Oh, my gosh. So sharp, too. That's cool.
I actually punched the tag with one of the spurs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because it was the notch, kind of like how PA is turning to the notch.
Yep.
Yeah, so I just used the spur and notched the tag.
Man.
And then a bunch of pictures. And
that's awesome, dude. That is cool. And what a spot to do it in, too. I mean, first turkey out in Idaho. Like, that's just a cool area, man.
Yeah.
Cool area. Up in the mountains. That's awesome, man. All right. Now, so tell me, so that area, you don't have to be too specific. That area, are you going to be deer hunting there, too? Same general area? No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
So we were hunting the Panhandle region, near abouts Coeur d'Alene. But for mule deer, we'll be south of Boise, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Man, that's awesome. That's awesome stuff, dude. So tell me about the mule deer hunt. What's the plan here?
It's a very rough plan right now because we got some time. It's in late October.
Do you know the exact dates
for the season?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I know we're going in. I did at one point. So that was when we were planning it. We knew the dates, but then once we booked the flight, all that. Just,
don't worry about it too much until the dates come up. Yeah. I was just curious because I'm going out to Colorado and end of October. I think it's October 26th through November 3rd.
Okay.
The second rifle season in Colorado. So I'm sure it's probably around the same time.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. I know we're taking advantage of 2 weekends. So we're starting the second week of the hunt, which we're not big fans of because pressure and movement, migration patterns, what have you.
Yeah.
Rather be out there the first day than beginning on the second week. But since we'll be hunting through the week, I figure it'll be less pressure come Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, and you'll be hitting the rut a little bit better because the mule deer rut, it's pretty close to the whitetail. I mean, but I think it lasts longer.
Okay.
I think it lasts until like December or which sometimes whitetail does too. But yeah, that second rifle season's when they're starting. Once that snow starts falling, they start migrating. They start chasing females and chasing does, and that's exciting stuff, man. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Rifle.
Yeah.
So.
Hopefully I have a good story to tell like the turkey one.
Yeah,
after
hopefully, man.
Muley.
That'll be cool. That's something that I'm really looking forward to because I went. So my Western hunting history is I went out in 2022, I believe. Elk hunt over the counter, second rifle, like just shit ton of pressure, bunch of people around. Then last year went out for muzzleloader elk,
Okay.
but I also had a muzzleloader mule deer tag. So I ended up getting the elk, wasn't able to get a mule deer, just didn't have a good opportunity. And then this year, I'm kind of splitting it up. So elk, muzzleloader, and then second rifle for muleys.
Okay.
And that'll, dude, I'm so excited. It's just like, it's all I think about, man.
Yeah.
It's really all I think about. That and, hunting whitetails in November and, in October and early October and stuff. But
yeah,
it's like, it hooks you, man, going out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just so wild. So, and also fishing out there.
Yeah.
Is great. Talk about your fishing. What were you,
right.
What were you guys catching?
So we were chasing after cutthroats, and we ended up getting into some fish. The stretch of river we were fishing, it was 50 miles, no signal, no service, just us in the water. And there was the occasional drift boat that would come through.
Cool.
We'd see it on the road. But I mean, it was a big river. So it was kind of hard to get into it, but we found some little, we island hopped a little bit to work eddies and stuff like that, and we got set up on this big deep eddy. It was like just raging current on the backside, and it just created a huge place, right? And we were about waist deep in the water, so we spent most of our time fishing there, catching cutthroats and mainly cut bows, which is when the cutthroat and the rainbow hybridize. And I was a little disappointed because I saw Meat Eater did a thing a couple years ago where in Idaho, different rivers there's an incentive to kill cut bows and rainbows. Like they'll go through and they've electrofished and they put tags in some of them for a reward and incentive to, get rid of them because they're overcompeting and breeding with the native cutthroats.
Yep.
But we weren't in one of those bounty areas, so we didn't get paid to fish.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, it's a huge problem. Like, I mean, out there specifically with the cutthroat, just because they're adding browns, adding rainbows, adding brook trout, to these native cutthroat ranges, and obviously there's only so much biomass to go around. They can't. Tough for them to outcompete, and also whenever the rainbows are breeding with them, it creates that cut bow combo and just dilutes the gene pool a little bit more. So yeah, I know what you mean. We caught whenever I was out in Colorado, we caught a bunch of cut bows, bunch of cutthroats. So they're fun.
Yeah,
it's fun catching them though.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It just kind of wanted that $1,000 prize.
Yeah.
That would have made the trip even better.
Oh yeah, that would have paid for your tag.
Yeah,
and some of your gear.
Yeah.
I know Idaho, they got one of the few states in the lower 48 that has bull trout. You guys hooking any bull trout?
No, we caught a whitefish.
Yeah,
but no bull trout.
Rocky Mountain white.
Yeah.
Love those things. Native fish, native to the Rockies.
Okay.
Been there for probably just as long as the cutthroat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. For now, I want to talk a little bit about like your camping setup, because I'm like kind of a gear junkie. I love my gear. I love my I love getting stuff and testing it out and things like that. So I want to hear what your guys' plans are for like the camp. What are you planning on staying in one spot? Or are you gonna kind of do like a spike camp as you move through the mountains, hunt through the mountains? Or are you gonna spike, or are you gonna just stay in one spot?
Yeah, those conversations have not happened yet, but from the conversations we have had, we're going to set up like an HQ, get a home base. This is where we're going, and then venture off from there.
Okay.
A lot of it's still in the planning stage, but it's happening. So it might just be we show up and figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, there's a lot of fun and excitement in just figuring out when you get there.
Yeah.
That's always a good time. All right, man. Cool. Well, what's next? What's next? It sounds like you're getting hooked on the Western stuff. What about what's next for hunting in the coming years? Are you planning on doing some elk hunts? What?
Well, I'm kind of hooked on turkey hunting now.
Okay.
I would like to attempt getting the Grand Slam, before I get too old. For a long time now, I've always said that I want to kill a pronghorn. So I want to go on a pronghorn hunt.
Okay.
But I've been told that it's a fairly easy, not super strenuous hunt. So that one can kind of hit the back burner. I want to get back into archery. I outgrew my bow, and during college it was harder to archery hunt. It takes a lot of time, especially when you have class, practice, homework, and you want to hang out with friends.
For sure.
So archery has hit the back burner, but I want to get back into that big time. But I got to get a bow that fits me, and then hopefully, when I get the bow, it's going to be big enough so that I can take it out west. Maybe try to get an elk with it. Maybe a mule deer. Maybe, who knows, a big old Kansas whitetail. Like, I say I'm a feather in the breeze. If there's an opportunity, I'm going to go for it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way. That's a good way to look at it, I think. I spend a lot of my time planning for the future, like planning like my future hunts and stuff like that. Just with buying points and all this stuff that you gotta worry about if you want to keep on going, and it's getting harder, but it's definitely not impossible to keep on going out there, keep on enjoying it. So it's good. It's good that you're getting into it. That's awesome.
Are you hooked on Colorado?
I love Colorado, man. I love Colorado.
Do you think you'll hunt elsewhere?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
for sure. I'm building points right now in Washington.
Okay.
Washington, Oregon, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Arizona.
All right, you're just
so just everywhere.
Yeah, anywhere you can get them.
Anywhere I can get them, man. I bought points in Kansas this year, so hopefully, I think it's every other year. Usually, you'll draw in Kansas.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm gonna. I guess I probably should go next year if I have the points, if I can draw it or not. I was also planning on potentially going to Alaska for moose next year. That was a big goal of mine, is if I could get out there.
Yeah.
But that's a huge commitment, obviously. Just time and money getting out there.
Yeah.
Flights and then shipping meat back if you do get one. So it all depends, really. I'm going to worry about this season now.
Yeah.
But then once this season's over, then I'm going to start worrying about the logistics of figuring out, all right, can I afford, do I have the time that I can spend to go out to Alaska and then also maybe go to Kansas or something, or go somewhere else. That's why this year I did 2 hunts. Hopefully next year I can figure something out where I can do potentially 3 or, shortened ones or whatever. But right now focused on this season. Trying to get a couple, trying to get a elk and a few deer.
Yeah.
Muley and whitetail. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. But yeah. What about work? You enjoy where you're at now?
Yeah, I'm happy. They pay me well, so that's a plus.
Absolutely.
My boss is cool. I don't have any complaints, really. Once I'm done for the day, if it's a 12, 14-hour day or just an 8-hour day, I'm done. I don't have worries.
Yeah.
I don't take work home with me.
That's nice.
Deal.
Yeah, that's really nice that you have a job that allows that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people get caught up in that sort of stuff. So that's good. Any movement in the company or what? What can you say you stay there for 10 years? What is the path look like for you? What does the career path look like?
Well, they want to make everybody a manager eventually, right? But I don't want to manage people. I'm barely in charge of myself, But I would like just to have as much experience as possible, because I've been to some cool places on some cool projects. I've been to Georgia, Virginia a couple times. I go all around PA. I'm out in Allentown a lot. So the travel part of it, I just want more exposure, more networking. Just not necessarily looking to climb, but I want more experience so that I'm the guy somebody calls when they need X, Y, and Z done.
Yeah. What's like the breadth of your company's, like what's their footprint in the country? Like where could you go?
In the U.S., I could go anywhere. There are so many offices in the U.S. There's 4 offices in PA. There's 2 in Ohio. There's a job posting in Sioux Falls right now. There's a bunch in California. There's an office in Idaho. There's 2 offices in Idaho. There's 1 in Montana. I could go any state and stick with the company if I wanted to.
Yeah. Do they allow that pretty freely, moving it within the company?
So they say. I haven't.
Yeah, you haven't tested it.
Yeah.
Tested the waters.
Also, there were a couple engineers that moved from like Arizona and stuff. So yeah, I guess there is a lot, but you know, it would have to be the right place, right time for me to take the leap right now.
Could you ever see yourself doing that, moving to a different state?
Yeah. I'm planning on. So I have a little brother. Well, I have a little brother and a little sister. My sister, she's an adult now. She has her own life. My little brother, he's still in high school. I said I'm gonna see him through high school. And I coach wrestling. He wrestles over at the high school too. So I'm gonna see him till his graduation, and then I'm gonna not look for opportunity, but not say no to opportunities. Like, hey, there's a position open in middle of nowhere, who knows where, Missouri, middle of nowhere, Missouri. Sure, why not? Let's take it.
Hey,
go for it.
That's how you get the experience, man.
Yeah.
Cool, awesome, dude. Well, hey, we've been talking for a while.
Have we?
An hour.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty good. But yeah, dude, I appreciate you sharing. Anything else you want to talk about?
Not on the top of my head, no.
I think we covered it all. From wetlands and to jobs to western hunting to what about eastern hunting? What are you doing this year for whitetail?
I don't know. So recently, the camp that my family goes to for rifle got sold.
Okay.
There was it was my grandfather's cousin who owned the camp. He passed away. The camp was already like up in the air if they were going to keep it because they only used it occasionally. And then, I mean, everybody else in the family used it for rifle and trout season. So we obviously were like, yeah, keep it. And then his wife sold it. So it's up in the air if we'll be doing that. I don't know. My focus is a mule deer, and then after that, kind of like how you can only think about Colorado. Yeah. My focus is a mule deer, and then maybe I'll go and sit and get cold somewhere.
Yeah, cool, man. Cool. All right, well, let's wrap it up. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
And we'll have to do this again soon.
All right. Hopefully, a better story with a bigger deer.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.